What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for To Your Eternity. This is episode 8, and with me, as always, I have Bluespid.
Yeah. So, we pick up after the end of, shortly after the end of the last episode, where we find out that Bond's not really actually dead. So what happens is, uh, s- I guess Kahaku and Fushi were able to concoct like the same type of knockout agent that Hayase always made, in the past. So Fushi ends up recreating it, and I guess he flies over the execution site and then just doused everyone with that knockout agent, and then supposedly replaced Bond's body with a fake one to make it appear that he's dead.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was expecting Bond to die here. But the episode preview fooled me because I thought he was actually dead.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering about all those people that were unconscious too when the episode started. But yeah, I guess, it's because of the gas or whatever that Fushi was using.
Yeah, so they eventually do hold I guess they hold a fake funeral for Bond, while the real Bond, ends up waking up and to the relief to the rest of his family. However, to keep the guise of him being dead, Bond has to pretty much completely change his appearance from what he used to be, and seeing that he's dead, he's also given up the position to be next in line in the throne.
Yeah, and it seems like Bond kind of changes somewhat as a character as well. I guess I don't know, maybe it's just to further convince people that he's not actually Bond.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that goofy strut that he always does every single
Yeah.
time. So he just walks normally now. And then, of course, the first person that he ends up meeting, other than Fushi, is of course Lily, who is of course Toto. Who after all the time that she was in that hanging cage, pretty much like eating only bread for the majority of that time, ends up losing a considerable amount of weight. And then
Do we know like how much time did they mention how much time has passed between like when they were freed and when like I guess when Bond Bond wakes up again? Because like I wasn't even sure if it was Toto at first, because like I was wondering how Toto had lost so much weight in
they did mention
seemingly
this.
like short amount of time.
They did mention this in the last episode, that they were stuck up there for at least several weeks. I think they said 3 or 4.
Yeah. So I mean, it pretty much is confirmed that the Toto was was that girl.
Yeah. So
and that she had, I guess, snuck back into the castle to see Bond again.
yeah, I mean, she still works at the castle. However, like
Yeah.
when Bond first sees her again, well, um, like looking different than how she used to be. He wanted to confirm with her if she was the same girl he met all those years ago. That gave him the what was it, that quilted handkerchief that he always treasured.
Yeah, and also for some reason Fushi is in Rian's form. I was kind of confused about that.
Yeah, well, he also needs to keep his appearance appearance a secret, because most people still think that he's still trapped in that molten steel prison or something, unless the priest knows that Fushi's still roaming about. But yeah, Fushi needs to keep up a disguise for the time being. So it leads into an interesting interaction between Bond and Lily, talking to each other, and of course Bond kind of chastises her about the lengths that she went to be around him, like sneaking into climbing up the side of the castle to sneak into his room to give him the handkerchief, and then all that time when she was overweight, just basically just working as his chair or something like that. And Vaughn, yeah, like I said, he chastises her about that, and then this leads her to, to run out and try to gain weight again, but of course Bond stops her from doing so.
Yeah. Yeah, so they pretty much just I guess sort of I mean it's yeah, they sort of like reconnect, I guess, after well, like Bond just now finding out that it's the girl he used to know.
Mhm.
And then of course we eventually find out what happened to Kahaku. He basically like had been trying to cut off or trying to kill the knocker in his arm. But was kind of unsuccessful in doing so, of course.
Yeah, and um, of course, Fushi finds out about this when he feels Kahaku in pain, which I'm a little bit surprised because he's never felt this way towards Hayase at any point. But I guess Fushi feels, I don't know, some kind of like mutual connection with Kahaku of sorts, despite the fact that that Kahaku tried to I don't know, just do weird things to him like after the last couple episodes.
Yeah, it's just kind of a weird relationship, I guess, if you want to call it that they seem to have.
Mhm.
But yeah, basically the knocker tries to communicate with them by like writing on the ground, like, or just by like writing on the ground with a knife, or using Kahaku to write with a knife, like what he wants to say. And basically we learned the knockers that what they really want is to free everybody's souls from being, I guess from being trapped inside like the human bodies or something, because the knockers themselves are like something, because the knockers themselves are souls or something like that. It's I don't know. I find it to be a very kind of a cliche motivation, if anything. I mean, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting how after all this time, the knocker that had been passed through the or I get passed through the family or Heise's family now wants to communicate with them. I'm kind of wondering if any of the other members of the family had also tried to kill that knocker before now, or if this is like the first time any of them have tried to do it.
I think Kahaku would have been the first person to try that. I mean,
Yeah.
I remembered it was, if I remember that girl correctly, Hisami. Like,
Yeah.
Fushi tried to convince Hisami to try to cut that knocker off her arm, but then she blatantly refuses to do so because, somehow treats that knocker as part of the family of sorts. But then, of
Well,
course, Kahaku's like the first person to actually try to kill or cut it out of his arm.
and also because that knocker would probably resist.
Mhm.
And yeah, but basically we learned that there are knockers that are going to attack the Church of Bennett, which was, of course, the church that had imprisoned Fushi and the others. So I guess now they're going to go and try to help the church and try to save them from the knockers. Even though, of course, the church had imprisoned them and wanted, pretty much wants to, just keep Fushi as a prisoner, or just try to kill Fushi if they can.
Yeah,
Um,
but probably by the end of the episode, I don't think like their main objective is the church. I think they're just mostly going after the people around the city, from what we can tell.
yeah, I mean, because there are, of course, innocent people in the city, but
Mhm.
yeah. I did think this was a somewhat of a better episode than the other two that we've had, but of course, still not great. I like at least that now Bond is trying to be a different kind, somewhat of a different character than what we're used to seeing. I kind of like him better now that he's not trying to be some kind of basically just a straight up just a comic relief character and not too much else. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to see where it goes, because I'm really not sure what's going to happen in the next episode. I mean, it seems based on the episode preview, of course, they're going to go to try to help save the city from the knockers. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think about this episode?
I think I do have to give him points for them at least trying to salvage Bond's character a little bit, trying to
Hmm.
switch up his character a little bit, and the fact that that he doesn't, that he has no desire to ascend to the throne anymore and just live a normal life with Lily. I think that's in a way, like a slight improvement for his character. I mean, I doubt this is the last time we'll ever get to see Bond. I think he's gonna come
Although it
back
kind
a
of
little
feels
bit.
like his character arc is finished with that too, because that seems to be like mostly what he wanted, except for trying to become the king or whatever. But
Uh,
uh,
I mean, that's most likely. I mean, obviously, he's
yeah,
still gonna be living in the castle, just not under, the identity of when he was a prince.
you're right. Um, yeah, I thought that, like I said, I thought it was definitely an improvement compared to the other episodes we've seen so far. Um, Mostly just because it did try to somewhat develop on as a character, um, and we did learn a little bit about the Knockers, even though what we learn is I would say kind of a little bit disappointing, to be honest, because it's just like unless there is more to it, which I assume there probably is, but um, yeah, I mean, it's just like we've seen that kind of motivation before, and it's
Yeah, I
nothing
mean,
really.
the fact that they want to
Yeah.
just blatantly kill people to free their souls, and then also
Mhm.
another fact that they view Bushi and his creator as kinds of abominations that can live forever without. I don't know, and they also try to relay a message that Fushi can resurrect people, but of course Bond tries, I guess, deliberately wipes away that message just to keep Fushi from finding out.
Yeah, it seems like they're probably. I guess I'm assuming throughout most of season two, they're gonna try to keep that a secret from him. Maybe at some point Fushi will learn he can do this. Um, but it seems like he still doesn't know.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about the episode. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
I mean, it was okay. I mean, I hope to see
Yeah.
a little bit more improvement for next week. I mean, it looks like Fushi is gonna end up fighting the Knockers again after all this time, but it's still kind of a mixed bag when it
Mm.
comes to this timeline in particular with Fushi meeting Bon and Kahaku. Um, yeah, I think it's probably going to take a while for them to, I guess, move up to the next. I don't know, next arc. I don't know how long this is going to go for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming the next episode might be possibly the climax of this particular story arc, since it seems like I guess they still have to go back and try to save the people that are in that city from the Knockers,
Hmm.
and the Church of Benna will probably be involved in some way.
Yeah.
But that being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.